device is called a POC, or Portable Oxygen Concentrator. What it's designed to do is make oxygen, and it makes the oxygen the same way that this does, except it's smaller. So then we can use this in a walker or a wheelchair. It has to be tested by the respiratory therapist on the resident to make sure that the oxygen it's making is the right amount of oxygen for the resident. Okay? The difference between these two is this oxygen in the stationary concentrator comes out steady. There's no involvement. The resident just has to put the nasal cannula on and just breathe. This one, the reason why it's used for going out of the room is it requires the resident to be actively using the oxygen. What I mean by that is when they have the nose piece onto this, they're taking a sniff in. Right, let me look at the front here. So on the top is where all of the controls are. This is where we're going to put the oxygen tubing onto. It looks similar to this one over here, okay? So the tubing goes on there. It's just the nose piece. You don't need to have a long line. It's got a screen. It's not lit up yet because it's not turned on. And then you got some dials and buttons here. All you need to do is, if you know what setting this is supposed to be on and it's already set, all you're responsible to do is when they're going from their room out to meals or recreation or whatever they're going to be doing outside their room, and they have one of these devices, you take them off their concentrator, you put them onto this device. To turn it on, we hold the button down, okay? And I'm going to put this down on the table, and you're going to bring that camera down so you can see a top view. So, all right. Now this has been used for demonstration purposes over the last couple of days, but here's some things on here. Number one, there's the battery. You can see it's at 69%. What we want to do is get into the habit of when they go back to the room, they go back onto their stationary concentrator, you turn this off, and what we're doing is plugging it back in. Okay? This is the plug that will be in the room, okay, for that. On the charger here, you can see there's a little light. That just indicates that there's power coming to here. And you can also see now it's charging up the device. All right? This is the setting of 3. Okay, so in this particular case, we use the setting of 3. Maybe we didn't, maybe the therapist thought 4 was better. So she would push this button plus to get to 4. Okay? Or maybe 1 was the proper level for that. The thing to understand is this oxygen is delivered only by breathing in by the resident. It has nothing to do with this machine. So the idea behind this is pulse. That's the term that we use for it. And this is continuous. Okay? So, now, you're probably wondering, what kind of a container is this going to go into? Well, I'm glad you asked that question. Or I'm glad I asked that question. I'm going to put this in here. Okay? All right. So this is the bag for it. The reason why we have a bag is because we want to be able to protect this machine. All right? And if you flip it open, you can see where all the controls are. Once again, nothing has changed. You can even charge it through here. There's a little window, plug it in, and it charges. Now, the thing to keep in mind is you will see it used in various ways, but mostly what's going to happen is our therapist will either have this in a walker basket, or it's going to have this and it's going to be strapped over the back of the wheelchair. Okay, that's for stability. We just don't want this thing swinging any which way. All right, so you'll see it put properly in place. Now, that's how that device actually works and what is actually plugged in order to charge it up. Safest way. So there's a couple features on here I'd like to show you. Number one, there's a screen here. Okay, it's a filter. This comes out. It can be washed. It's made out of metal. It's not delicate, but delicate enough that if you push too hard on it, it would break. These should be cleaned just as periodically as the filter that's on the back of the other machine. Okay, they can be put on they can be put on a table to dry out, but make sure that nothing with water on it goes on here, because this is where it draws the air into the machine. So make sure it's nice and dry. Okay, there's one on the other side. All right, so just to go over the procedure again, You're coming back in from a meal. You're wheeling in your resident. You're going to put them back on their concentrator. You're going to take them off of this. You're going to shut this off. Make sure it's plugged in. Make sure that it's charging. And then they continue on.